we're going to be talking about something that's completely changed my life, right? Why? Because I make a load of fucking money doing it, okay? Now, everyone thinks networking can be a little bit scary. Everyone has an idea of what networking is. But I'm going to tell you a bit about how you guys can make money by networking. So, I'm going to talk to you a bit about my story. Now, how cute? That's cute. How cute is that guy? He's so cute. Something about me, guys, I couldn't hear until the age of 4. My parents thought I was deaf. I couldn't speak till the age of 4. And it wasn't until they realized that I needed some grommets in my ears to help me hear. Long story short, at the age of 4, I could start to hear. But what happened was, at the age of 4, I then moved to Spain. So not only did I have to learn English, I also had to learn Spanish at the same time. And I was just a little bit confused. I didn't really know what to do. And I struggled many, many years to communicate. I had a stutter. I had a really bad stutter. I was one of these guys who used to hide behind his mum when people used to try and say hello. And I didn't have a lot of confidence until the age of 15. One, because I used to stutter. I couldn't get my words out. I'm like, how can I go and approach and talk to someone and have a conversation if I stutter? And I just had this big, I just had no confidence in my ability. I tried to put myself in different situations to get confident, but every time I tried, especially at school, being an English guy in a Spanish school, people used to pick on me. So I used to get into a lot of fights. I got respect just from fighting, but not communicating. And it hurt. I wanted to stop getting hurt. So at the age of 15, my life started to change, completely change. I'm at school. I was doing extremely bad at school. One, because I found it very hard to communicate, read and write, very, very difficult. And summer, when I just turned 15, I had an amazing experience where someone walked up to me. He's like, hey, listen, your dad's told me you're not doing too well at school. I'm actually going to be producing a movie called Omar Bayer. Do you want to come and work on the movie set? I'm like, movie set? Yeah, let's do it. But he didn't tell me what the movie was about. And anyway, so I said, what do I need to do? He said, you just need to be a fluffer, right? I'm joking. If anyone knows what fluffer is, okay, look it up. It wasn't that, but I'll get to that bit. So anyway, I'm like, okay, so what do I need to do? A runner. Just make sure you're running, helping the celebrities with food, drink, umbrellas, whatever you need. Sweet, okay. So there's one day, I've turned up to this movie set, and just to explain a bit about what this movie was about, right? It's called Omar Bayer, 4 completely different stories that blend into one at the end. Pretty cool story. I'll give you the story another time. But the end scene of all these 4 different people coming together, they ended up at a nudist resort, okay? So now, if you think about it, I'm 15, I'm a bit shy, I don't really know how to communicate, and all of a sudden, I've turned up to this massive villa, and there's 100 fucking people naked, right? Completely naked. I'm shocked. I'm like, now, their whole concept behind how they got so many naked people there, one, they needed naked people to be extras for the movie, but 2, it was a naked networking event. There was one guy who was in EastEnders, an actor. I'm not going to say the name because you probably won't know who he is. He actually helped me with a lot of things because I was looking after him, I was giving him the drinks. I said to him, listen, I love how you actors just are one person, and as soon as you jump on stage, you're someone else. How do you get this confident? And he started giving me some tips and tricks on what to do. He said to me, he used to have a stutter. He said, the best thing to do, slow down. Use pauses. And I'm thinking, is that what I have to do? I have to pause and speak slower? Because as you guys know, especially in Spain, they speak so fast. If I speak Spanish, I speak double the speed as when I speak now in English. And he said, just slow it down. He said, people don't know the way that you speak and communicate. So you can communicate in any way, shape, or form. No one's going to judge you because they don't know you. What did I learn amongst these naked people? Now, this is very important, right? This movie here started to completely change my life. One, yes, I was a bit starstruck, probably because they were naked, right? But also I had one of the biggest lessons possible, which is just to use pauses to slow down my communication. The other thing here as well is like, you can network in any location, any place. It could be in a supermarket, it could be at a high-end restaurant. Networking is all the time. You can never stop networking. I was observing how confident people act, right? So all these naked people standing around. Obviously, you've got one guy who's got, just like, making sure everyone can see him. I'm like, so do I need to have a massive dick to be confident? But then I saw other people with small dicks, right? And I'm like, this guy's pretty confident as well. So, and during the networking, I was observing how they were acting, how they were standing. And I wanted to have a look at all the most confident people, the way that they spoke, the posture, the volume. And I had some time to actually observe these people. A lot of them were actually complimenting each other. I'm like, they're not even complimenting about the nakedness. They're complimenting about the way that they look, or maybe the success they've had in business. Everyone likes a compliment. So if you guys are thinking, shit, how can I break the ice with someone? How can I actually start, communicating? Give someone a compliment. The reason why I'm mentioning this, guys, is because a lot of you guys know, Nomadic Closer, we also have a placement agency. Personally, I probably get over 80 messages a day, people saying, hey, I'm a closer, can you help me? I'm looking for a job. Fuck off, right? If they turn around and they're like, I've just seen one of your reels, I really liked this, what you said. Fucking compliment. Oh, thanks, man. Like, what else did you like? Talk to me. Like, yeah. And they're like, well, I really like this and this. Oh, by the way, do you think you can help me? Absolutely, right? Give people compliments. Doesn't matter where you are. And again, I challenge you guys, for the next 30 days, just walk up to random people and just give them a compliment. That's what I started to do. So I started walking up to people for the next 30 days and giving random people compliments. And at the end of the day as well, when you are networking and you are going to networking events and you're meeting people the first time, the truth is, if you fuck up, no one's going to remember you. So it's fine. So you're just going to be talking to yourself in your head, fuck, I fucked up. No one's going to remember you, so don't worry. Unless you make a very good impact, and we're going to be talking about that on the next slides. But what I also did that summer, I actually started working at a beach club called Nikki Beach. Anyone know Nikki Beach? Yeah, I've been there. Quite a few people. There you go. So, no, in Spain. So Miami was one of the originals, and then we opened one in Marbella. I wasn't meant to be working at Nikki Beach. I actually took my girlfriend at the time to apply for the job. At the time, I'm actually sitting at the bar while she's having an interview, and I'm sharing my story about the nudist experience to the bartender. Anyway, he's laughed with me, walked away. All of a sudden, a guy's come up to me, is like, I've just heard you've really entertained the bartender with some great stories. By the way, we want to offer you a job. I'm like, I'm not here for a job. My girlfriend, you've got the job. I'm like, okay, what do I have to do? Runner. Sweet, I've just done that. So, for those who don't know what Nikki Beach is where you have the rich and famous, right? Everyone likes to go there, show off, champagne shows, it's amazing. And I thought, okay, well, maybe it's a great opportunity to learn to communicate. I can talk to many people on a daily basis, I can fuck up as much as possible, they're not going to remember me, but I can start getting out of my shell. But the other thing is as well, is it really taught me to understand how to communicate with people and give them what they really wanted, okay? So, what do I mean by that? Here I started to work out that the better I got at communication, the more money I made. I'm like, this is crazy. So the more I'm communicating with these people, finding out why they're here, finding out what they're looking for, all of a sudden I'm giving them some ideas on how they can actually experience what they're looking for, I'm making more money. Okay, sweet. So then I started going through and figuring out how I can get people excited by getting them to vision a future outcome. Getting them to vision, okay, they've just got to a party, they've got to a beach club, why are they here? this is what they're looking for. How can I make what they're looking for even better by planting some seeds? So, lessons that I had here. Having connections, right? Why do I say having connections? Because a lot of guys that go to beach clubs, they were looking for the girls, right? And I had a load of girls, so I could connect, right? When I mean girls, I don't mean girlfriends. I mean there was other girls at the beach club looking for someone to pay the bill. So I managed to connect. But then that was another lesson. It's like, well, if I can connect men and women, they can have fun. Maybe I can go further and figure out, what are these people doing when they're not on the beach club? What do they do for work? And then all of a sudden I'm thinking, wow, well, there's so many people here that are rich and famous, they have money, but everyone has a problem. But I didn't know how to connect the dots at the time. Right? Now, one of my mentors at the time, which was my uncle, he said to me, Joe, why aren't you building a Rolodex? What the fuck's a Rolodex? Is that one of those things you just scroll through and it's got like letters and people's numbers? He said, yeah. He said, why are you not building a Rolodex of all the contacts that you're meeting? Think about it. You're probably meeting, 150 people on a daily basis. At least you're probably speaking to at least 25 people on a daily basis. So the better you get at communication, the better you find out about why they're there, what they do for a living, problems, how they can solve certain issues. Why don't you just get all that written down on a Rolodex, and all of a sudden, you can become a connector. If someone has a problem, but in your Rolodex you have someone that can solve that problem, you could start introducing people. There's nothing better than being a great, I've got to say this carefully, connector, okay? Connector. Because the more you connect, the more favors you do, the more people want to help you. So whenever you go networking, don't go and try to think, how can I make money from this person? Have this mindset of, I want to give, give, give. The more you give, the more you receive. It's an exchange of energy. So, having a Rolodex made me hundreds of thousands of dollars over the last, I don't want to say my age. Can't count. 22 years. There you go. Habibi, welcome to Dubai. So, I was working on beach clubs for a good 13 years. I had the best time. I was connecting with people. I was making stupid amounts of money. And it allowed me to work 6 months, travel 6 months. And the nice thing about what you guys are doing right now is you're traveling. You're getting out of your comfort zone, right? You're changing your environment. Now, when you do change your environment and you meet people from different places, different countries, people act in different ways. People have different habits. People have different beliefs. So what that taught me was when I, for example, traveled to India, okay, I thought, now I understand the culture. Why was I always judging Indians getting together, sitting on the floor and eating on the floor? It's just part of the culture. I think a lot of times we judge people because we don't understand their culture. So if you do want to become good at connecting, if you want to become good at communicating and getting people together, you need to understand different cultures. That's why it's so important to get out there, network, socialize, meet people, right? Talk about, different habits and what your family does or traditions, because we don't know. So don't judge anyone by the way they act, because we don't know. And it's the same on sales calls. Sometimes we judge people without actually truly understanding the meaning behind it. Why are they acting this way? Understanding their patterns. So the more you understand, the more we can help them. So moving forward, I was a great networker. I was a great connector, master connector. I was working on the beach club one day. I was 26. And this guy came up to me. He's like, I've been watching you for the last couple of years. And I've seen that you don't just work on the beach clubs. You also go out, you network, you find people that you're spending a load of money on tables in clubs. Then you're bringing them into the club. You're looking after them as well. You're introducing them. He said, it's fucking great what you're doing. He said, I want to give you a proposal. Okay. He said, would you like to come and open a nightclub with me in Dubai? And I'm like, Dubai? Can they drink in Dubai? Like, can I walk down the street holding hands with my girlfriend? Like, am I not going to get arrested? He said, bro, he said, as long as you're not having sex on the beach, you won't get arrested. I was like, fuck, I'm not going. But I went anyway. And the most amazing thing about what we did in Dubai, we were the first Europeans going in and running a nightclub. It's pretty cool, right? But why was the nightclub so successful? Is because we did stuff and did things differently to everyone else running nightclubs. We thought, how can we be master connectors? How can we bring in the best of the best into the club and get them to spend a load of money? So like, okay, well, where do the rich and famous hang out? Luxury beach clubs, luxury restaurants, luxury hotels. Okay, why don't we, during the day, go and just chill on these beach clubs, go to the hotels, and start connecting with the staff? Because what we could then do, we can say to the staff, listen, if you have anyone rich and famous, and they come to the club because of you, I'll give you a bit of money, because I'm on some commission. Right? Exchange of energy. They're like, really? At the beginning, we actually gave money in advance, just so we showed them how serious we were. And all of a sudden, within the first month, we became the most successful nightclub in Dubai, making stupid amounts of money. I was only meant to be in Dubai for 2 months, because I was engaged at the time. My girlfriend, well, my fiance at the time, was in Holland trying to finish her studies. And I phoned her up, I'm like, babe, you know how I was only meant to be here for 2 months? I'm not coming back. I'm making way too much fucking money here. You should come over. Anyway, she left her studies and came over to Dubai. The reason why I'm telling you this is it's so important to get out of your comfort zones and go to places you don't normally go. Try and figure out, well, what business do I have and who can help me? There we go. Be a connector. So, everywhere is the best place to network. So let me ask you, do you know who your ideal client is? There you go. If you don't know who your ideal client is, it doesn't matter if you're a closer, if you're a setter, if you're a business owner. Where do they hang out? Okay? I think everyone should write that down. Because you need to figure out, even if you're closing for a mentorship, if you're closing for an investment opportunity, where do those clients hang out? Don't just be one of these closers that sit there, yeah, I'll just wait for inbound leads. No, because if you actually go out and find your clients, you're going to get more commission, you're going to make more money, and you probably make even more money by doing business outside of what you're doing. What type of people do you want to connect with? I'm not talking about your ideal clients. I'm talking about who can introduce you to your ideal client. Where do they hang out? I'm sure there's a lot of you guys here that can help each other. But if you don't know what you're looking for, how do you know how someone can help you? You don't. So again, exactly, where do your ideal clients hang out? And also, go to big events like this. These events, you meet so many amazing people. I've met all my business partners through masterminds and events. All of them. And how could you stand out from the crowd? I mean, I don't know. I'll leave that to you. Cool. Now let's talk about leveraging online platforms for a second. Yes, guys. Yes, yes, yes. You can network online, but you're not creating true bonds, true friendships. Like, I know a lot of you guys from the online space. It's very different from just chatting to you a couple of times, jumping on Zoom, to actually giving each other hugs. You know, to actually being there, being like, yo, I really like your vibe. How can we work together? So again, expand your network. You've got platforms like LinkedIn, you've got Facebook groups, online communities, right? But the best place is right here. Masterminds, guys. In-person masterminds. If you want to level up, go to as many as these as possible. Why? Because there are other people trying to level up that you want to hang out with. But the biggest mistake everyone does, not following up. I'm sure a lot of you guys here want to get to know each other, but maybe you just got an Instagram, and then, 2 months later, like, fuck, who was that guy at the mastermind? I really need to talk to him. Fuck. Follow up, guys. Use your Rolodex. You can even turn the Rolodex into a CRM system. The last conversation you had, their birthdays, or their dog just had an accident. You can follow up. Oh, how was the operation? Is your dog still, is he okay? Follow up. Because if you keep following up, what happens is they're going to remember you. You're going to be on their mind all the time. If they understand what you do for a living and they meet someone because you've helped them out, because you've been there, they're going to be like, oh my God, well, I've just spoken to this guy. I'm also good at connecting and communicating. So I'm going to connect this guy to Kenny because I know Kenny can solve his problem. But you have to follow up. This is the biggest mistake I see with everyone. And it's not just about following up with clients. Follow up with all of us, individuals. Keep on the relationship. It doesn't matter if maybe you just send like a birthday message once a year or a Christmas message once a year. Spend some time reaching out because, again, you're going to be on their mind. We've all heard this, right? Be interested, not interesting. So we're talking about networking. Now, a lot of you guys know here, most Thursdays, there's great networking events. There's so many great networking events all around Colombia. I mean, if you turn around, we see where we are. We're so lucky to be amongst so many amazing entrepreneurs. But a lot of people come up to me and they say, Joel, how are you such a great communicator? Joel, how can you be such a great connector? I'm not a great communicator. At least I didn't think I was until I realized that I'm a fucking great communicator. Why? Because I can be very interested in listening to other people. If someone starts asking me a load of questions, I could possibly get a little bit shy at events. But if I flip it onto them, if I ask them, if I'm truly interested in them, what happens is, a lot of times, if I start active listening and putting the intention on them, they're going to walk away and they're going to be like, wow, that Joel was super interesting. I didn't fucking say anything. All I did is I just asked a couple of questions. And because you're talking so much about yourself and I was interested, you think that I'm a very interesting person. Great. So if you are shy and you're just getting into networking, perfect. You guys, most of you guys here are in sales. So use your sales abilities. Use your questioning to actually put the attention on them and start probing and going deep. Like I said, guys, I think this you should need to print into your mind, giver's gain. What can you give? What can you give? What value can you give someone? The more you give, the more you receive. Empathy and curiosity. When you're talking to someone, genuinely be curious in what they're saying. Now, when you are networking, you do have to be authentic, okay? But sometimes being authentic is not always the right thing at the start. Why? Because if you're extremely shy and you're someone who is communicating like this because you're a bit shy or you're doing the hip hop, like people aren't going to take you serious, right? Sometimes you need to be authentic with your personality, but you need to act a bit confident. So that's why we have mirrors. My girlfriend, she says to me, Joel, she said, one day the mirror's going to talk back to you. You look at it so much. But it's okay. I love the mirror. The mirror is great. I have conversations with myself all the time. Maybe because I'm a bit fucking nuts, but I get so much feedback from myself. I see the way that I stand. I see the way that I smile. I see the way that I move. It's so powerful. If you guys are learning to objection handle, do it to yourself in the mirror, right? Get comfortable with the way that you look, the way that you move, the way that you talk. So overcoming your fears of networking. We always are scared about what people think about us. Why? Where does this come from? So this is when we have to really dig deep and understand what is coming up. Where's this feeling coming from? Why is that feeling there? Everyone has a very different stories to tell. Cosimo said a great story here about the black and the white wolf and the guy feeding the wolf. A mentor gave me a very good technique here. Has anyone read a book called Taming Your Gremlin? I'll explain it. Very easy. You know, sometimes we're about to go ahead and we're going to do something, and we've got this stupid little fucking thing in our head saying, don't do it, you're going to foul, people are going to judge you, right? It happens all the time. It's something that we've been conditioned to, like, what if we're not good enough? What if people make fun of us? But it's super easy to separate that voice in your head once you know how. But if you don't know how, it's going to destroy you. It's going to drive you absolutely insane. So the whole book, I'll just say it in a very short sentence, is that negative voice in your head, and again, Harlan spoke about this as well. Everyone has different ways of explaining the same story. It just keeps going back to that voice in your head. My technique that's worked for me is, imagine if you have this fucking gremlin in your head that keeps telling you you can't do stuff. The best way to separate it is give it a name, Bob, Charlie, idiot, whatever you want to call it, and picture what it looks like. Maybe you can go on the internet and you can type in gremlin, or you can do a little drawing. Once you picture what this gremlin looks like, once you give it a name, all of a sudden, you've got this gremlin talking to you. You're like, fuck off, Dave, leave me alone, I'm doing this, right? And it's like, oh shit, I've actually been able to identify this negative shit in my head, and I've put it aside, I've thrown it in the bin. I've stamped on it, told it to fuck off. It's possible. But how is it possible if you don't actually work on identifying with this gremlin, the name, what it looks like? And be conscious of when it does come up, you're conscious and you're aware enough to tell it to go fuck off. Okay? Now, I've got a couple of tips for you guys. When you're going networking, it's so much easier when you're approaching 1, 3, 5 people. If the people are already in, let's say, couples or in pairs, it's harder to approach. So if someone's in 1, 3, 5, so much easier to join. Because there's always going to be someone spare to possibly have a conversation with you, and then you can split into pairs. A lot of people ask me, how do I actually break the ice? What do I say? When you're going to networking groups, it's so easy to say, what brings you here today? How fucking hard is that? Yeah. It's not hard at all. What brings you? Oh, there was a speaker that I really wanted to talk to. There was someone that I saw posted it online, and I wanted to meet that person. Another person's like, I just really want to, meet people and network. It's such a great opener, guys. What brings you here today? Super easy. Everyone likes a compliment. So ask some questions, be curious, look interested, and probe. Okay? Be interested, not interesting. How to leave a conversation. A few of you guys the other day was at a networking event, and you're like, Joe, I was talking to this really boring guy. He just wouldn't stop talking. How do you exit a conversation? I got really good at this when I was working in nightclubs. Drunk people talking my ear off, but they're super rich or famous, and I had to respect them. But I also had to run a club, and I had to learn how to snap and break away. So I got very good at this. But at the beginning, I was a bit rude, because I didn't know how. Through practice, through being conscious, you can actually understand how to break away. Super easy. So, what do I do? So let's just say me and Bartek are having a conversation. Super interesting. Bartek's talking. I'm like, Bartek, before I forget, do you mind if I just get your WhatsApp?
Sorry, I have a boyfriend.
No, that's not a problem. I was really interested in the conversation we had, and I really like what you do for work. I know people that possibly I could introduce you to that's looking for exactly that, right? And then I get your WhatsApp. Another great thing, I was like, do you mind if I take a photo so I don't forget who you are? Take a photo, and then I sent him the photo in the WhatsApp. Simple. So when I do reach out in the future, he's going to remember me. And I'm like, man, it was really good to meet you, man. Let's stay in touch. I'm just going to carry on and just meet more people. Be honest. Sweet. Lovely to meet you, man.
Nice meeting you.
And done. Also, as well, it's okay to be direct. People at networking events because they want to meet as many people as possible. If you chat to someone and they're boring the fuck out of you, right? Most of you guys here are closers, so you know pattern interruptions, you know how to kind of stop people from talking, right? Someone keeps talking my ear off, I'm like, man, this guy or this woman is boring the hell out of me. I'm like, I've really enjoyed talking with you. I'm just going to try and talk to as many people here as possible, and I'll come back straight to you and we'll finish this conversation. It's okay to be direct. It's okay. Especially if they're boring the fuck out of you, you're never going to see them again. You know what I mean? And the other thing, guys, always have a drink in your hand. Why do we want to have a drink in our hand? Let's just say you're in a group and you really don't know what to say. Rather than just saying there like, it's like, okay, I'm going to drink. Oh, sorry guys, my water's finished. And then you walk off for a refill, right? There's so many different tips and tricks you can do. But always have water or beer, whatever it is. And if they're really boring, just down it as fast as you can. So I'm really thirsty. Your networking future. So, body language. Body language is so important to watch people that have confidence. See what they do, see how they act. Maybe you guys can study some of you guys that's in the room. How do they stand? Do they look bored? Do they look interested? Do they look curious? You can even watch actors. You can watch your favorite mentors. There's YouTube videos. Watch how people act. Watch how people interact. You can go to a coffee shop and you can sit there and you can just watch the world go by and pick up certain habits. Be curious, because once you learn body language, you seem a lot more confident. Okay? Tonality. I'm going to touch base on this as quick as I can. There's 5 different types of vocals when it comes to tonality, right? We have speed. Sometimes we don't think how fast we speak. We don't. Especially a lot of Spanish. They talk so fucking fast. Like at the moment, we've got the Spanish Sales Academy. One of their biggest takeaways at the moment is slow shit down, use pauses, and they would increase in 25% close rate just by one little thing. So speed. How do you normally speak? Right? Maybe the way you speak to your friends, to your parents, maybe should be different to people you don't know. Maybe you should slow it down. What is your volume? I'm not going to point to anyone in the room here today, but there's a few of you that have great voice, but the volume is on like volume 2. So it's like once you tap in and truly understand how to use your voice, your volume, you can stand out, you can sound more interesting. Because if you start talking, and you could be the most incredible guy with the most amazing stories, but if you're talking in a very slow, or like, you know, if your tonality is like this, and you're in a loud place, people can't fucking hear you. Turn it up. If you go too loud, the person's going to be like, step back a little bit. So you've realized, okay, that was a bit too loud. But practice. Learn. So you've got speed, you've got volume, you've got the melodies, right? The melodies. There's so many things you can say, but if you have different accents on certain words, if you emphasize on certain words, they become the most important words from the phrase. If you just talk in very monotone and there's no melody, it becomes very boring, it becomes very monotone, and all of a sudden, the person you're going to be speaking to is like, man, this guy's so boring, finishes his fucking water and walks off, you know? So try and have a bit of, you know, movement. But that also comes down to the 4th one, which is emotions behind your voice. There's 6 main emotions. But I'm not going to say it to you now. I want you guys to think about different emotions. When you're happy, maybe you've had a shit day, right? And you've promised yourself you're going to go to this networking event. And you need to sometimes figure out how you can act. Okay, and I want everyone to listen to this for a second. When I say act, never try and become the second best version of someone else. I'm not saying act and become someone else. I'm saying you've got to be an actor to become the best version of yourself. Because sometimes you're not always going to turn up 100%. Sometimes you're going to kick your toe on the side of the fucking bed. You're going to be like, my life's shit, this is shit, everything's shit, right? And it can happen. But then you have a very important meeting that day. So you've got to know, okay, what does the best version of myself act like? I need to become that person. So sometimes When we talk about acting, we're talking about becoming the best version of yourself. Okay? Then it comes down to the fifth one, which is pauses. So I could be talking very fast, but then if I pause, everyone listens and leans in. So you've got to truly understand when to use pauses. Okay? And know how to hold a conversation. It's okay if you don't. Just be good at asking questions. You can have amazing conversations just by digging deep, asking conversations. Oh, what do you do? Oh, I do this and this. Oh, wow. How did you get into that? How long have you done that for? Do you like what you do? It's the sales script. It's exactly the same as networking. The last big connection I had, guys, just to give an example of how powerful networking communication is. Last Saturday, right? I've known about this guy here for probably about 6-7 years. I bought one of his courses years ago. It was at a beach club. Beach club is more like a lake club in Guatapé. Apparently it was his business. Didn't know, he was sitting there. Right? I figured out who it was. I'm like, I need to talk to this guy. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know that we have something in common, and I'm going to give him a compliment, and I want to talk to this guy. So that's what I did. I'm like, how can I actually approach him? He's with a big table of other friends. I didn't want to go up and say, oh, hey, I'm a big fan. That's not me, right? What I did, I actually went up to the waiter. I said, oh, me and Jürgen have some friends in common. Let me know when I can approach him and just talk about it. Wasn't 100% true. I just saw that we have some friends in common. I mean, you know, I wasn't lying. Anyway, so we started talking. Gave him a compliment about his achievements, what he's done. He asked me a couple of questions. Long story short, because of my body language, because of my tonality in the conversations, he's like, I actually like you. I actually like what you guys do. Let's meet up in a couple of days. Let's see if we can do any business together. Long story short, met with him a couple of days ago, and it could possibly be one of the biggest deals we've ever done. Okay? So, always be networking. Always try and figure out how you can start communicating and talking to people. Even if you fuck up, it's fine. They're never going to remember you again. But if you don't try, you don't know. Thank you very much.